This was my attempt at doing pull-ups at the start of February. And here's me again, 28 days later. Here's how I did it. Just to be clear, this isn't the first time I've been able to do pull-ups. I did my very first one in 2017 and at one point could do a modest 3 consecutive reps. Last year, my usual workout buddy went MIA, which meant that I also slacked off with my fitness. And one day, I realized I could no longer do pull-ups. It shouldn't have come as a surprise, as I naturally have terrible upper body strength. Getting to a single pull-up took me a significant amount of time and effort, and it felt bad when all of my progress over the years got wiped out just like that. That's why I decided to challenge myself to see how far I could go if I put my mind to it for a month. Will I be able to get back to my personal best of 3 pull-ups, or perhaps even surpass that? So, I came up with a plan. Or more accurately, I came across a plan. A pull-up program by Lieutenant Colonel Misty Posey of the Marines. I wished I knew of a program like this when I first started training for pull-ups all those years ago. It's not that I didn't have the help I needed back then, but as you'll soon find out, I have some trouble with listening to advice and following instructions. So at the very least, having a plan in black and white helps a ton. With that, I begin my month-long journey of getting better at pull-ups. What I like most about Misty Posey's program is that it doesn't require additional equipment apart from whatever you'll be doing pull-ups on, be it a bar or in my case, a pair of rings. On top of that, the simplicity of her program's philosophy is almost idiot-proof. To get better at pull-ups, do more pull-ups. But how do you get better at pull-ups by doing more pull-ups when you're not able to do a single pull-up? That's the biggest hurdle many, including myself at the beginning of this challenge, would first have to overcome. The solution? Progression exercises. Some of the best options are partner-assisted pull-ups, partial range of motion pull-ups, and my preferred method, especially if you'll be training alone, pull-up negatives. So on week 1, I started with progression exercises. After quickly loosening up, I'll do 1 rep of a progression exercise, rest 15 to 30 seconds, and repeat that for a total of 5 sets. This takes less than 5 minutes to complete, and I'll scatter an average of 3 to 4 of these sessions throughout the day. Right off the gate, I made my first mistake. The program stated to aim for a 3 to 7 second descent when doing negatives, but due to my ego and impatience, I did negatives that sometimes lasted for as long as 20 seconds. It felt fine at first, but by the end of the day, I would feel fatigued, and there was a noticeable decline in the quality of my reps. Despite that, I powered through and trained 5 days on week 1, and by the end of the week, I've somehow managed to do 1.5 pull-up. But I've got to say, I probably wasn't too far from doing a pull-up when I started on this program in the first place. It may have taken me 1 week to go from 0 to 1 this time, but it took me closer to 1 year to achieve my very first pull-up in 2017. So if you're thinking about training for pull-ups, going from ground zero to 1 pull-up in a week may or may not be a realistic expectation depending on your current fitness. Now that I'm officially able to do a pull-up, it's time to move on to the next phase. Instead of progression exercises, I started to focus more on actual pull-ups. The goal for each session is to do 1 pull-up, rest for 20 to 60 seconds, and repeat that for 3 sets. I sometimes needed to rest a little longer to be able to complete my reps, and that's perfectly okay. On week 2, I trained on 4 days with an average of 4 quick sessions a day. By the end of the week, I managed to do 2.5 pull-ups. With momentum on my side, I went for higher volume, training 5 days on week 3 with 5 sessions per day. I felt stronger and needed shorter rest between sets. At the end of week 3, I could already do 3.5 pull-ups, right about the level I used to be at my peak. With 1 more week to go in this challenge, 5 pull-ups started to feel like a real possibility. So I set that as a goal for myself. But just when everything seemed to be going in my favor, I had an upset stomach for a couple of days. Still, I managed to squeeze in 5 sessions a day on 3 days in the 4th week. I didn't feel my best, but I still got my reps in even if I didn't get to train as much as I would have liked in this final stretch. Finally, on day 28, I did one final test. Unfortunately, I fell just short of my goal of doing 5 pull-ups, but I'm not complaining about hitting 4.5 in just 4 weeks. For anyone who doesn't believe they can do a pull-up, believe me when I say I can totally relate. Doing a single pull-up felt borderline impossible years ago, let alone doing 5 of them. Everything feels impossible until you do it for the first time. If I can do it, honestly, anyone can do it, as long as you go in with a sound plan. Every plan will have its pros and cons. On one hand, I appreciate Misty Posey's pull-up program's simple philosophy of going for volume. Do more pull-ups to get better at pull-ups. But the high training frequency may not be convenient for those who don't have constant access to a pull-up bar or a pair of rings. In that case, a more traditional regime may be more realistic. At the end of the day, there is more than one way to achieve volume and progressive overload to get stronger. I may not have reached my goal of doing 5 pull-ups in this video, but I'm positive I'll get there in the near future. I will be giving an update on my progress, so make sure to follow us on Instagram and subscribe to us on YouTube if you have yet to do so. In the meantime, if you're looking for something to watch next to help you get in shape, then you should definitely check out these videos. See you again soon. Bye!